I felt very heavy during some of these seasons. And the heaviness was caused by the gap between my expectations and the reality.
Today, we're diving into a story that's going to resonate with anyone who's ever felt stuck in the grind, wondering if there's more to life than just surviving.
I accept bad days for what they are, just a bad day, nothing more, nothing less. It doesn't mean anything more about me or my life.
Discipline doesn't always work, even if we think it could.
We just keep pushing, keep running, keep checking off the boxes. But we stop listening to our bodies, and usually they have the answers. And this noisy world makes it sometimes difficult to believe, but it is true. And I strongly believe in this message.
Wow, that's beautiful. Now, if you could sit down with the version of yourself who was stuck in that survival mode,
I will just hug her, and I will just thank her for.
Welcome back to Moment to Pause. Today, we're diving into a story that's going to resonate with anyone who's ever felt stuck in the grind, wondering if there's more to life than just surviving. My co-host Jana has lived this journey. She's gone from burnout to breakthrough, from feeling like she was failing at rest to discovering what it really means to pause, realign, and rebuild. Jana, your story is one of courage and transformation, and I know it's going to inspire so many people listening today. So let's start at the very beginning. If we were to step into your life before everything shifted, what would we see? What would we feel? What was driving you during that time?
Hi, everyone, and thank you, Karolina, for this nice intro. This is a great question. I was a tax consultant. I was always very driven. We may say that I had some perfectionistic tendencies, and I always believed that everything was possible. To some extent, I still hold on to this belief. It's a good one, right? But at the same time, when I wanted to quote unquote manage it all, and I believed that it was possible, it kept me in a loop that wasn't sustainable. So at the same time as I still hold on to some of these beliefs, I no longer think that it is okay to expect that we can manage it all, when we need to know how to define it, the all. We need to know how to define it, what to expect, what are reasonable expectations. And yeah, we get to this later in the story. What's also needed is to learn to have enough compassion for ourselves when life starts to throw some things at you, because life usually finds a way how to throw something at you. So yeah, I was a driven tax consultant, a little perfectionistic, and I had a lot of hobbies. I always tried to find time for friends and family. And yeah, I always kept running.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that background. So where in these moments did you feel that something wasn't right? How did you respond to that voice? Did you ignore it? Did you try to justify it? Or did you try to push it through?
My go-to response was always to push through. Because I kept on believing that it'll get better. This is only a busy tax season. Once it's summer, it will get better. This project only needs to be finished. Then I get to the things that I want to do, that I want to catch up on. So I still thought that after every corner, there will be this magical freer space that I will be able to kind of finish all the unfinished projects that I still wanted to do and still had on my never-ending to-do list. Now I cannot believe how long I held on to this belief that it will be better once. Now I'm very aware once this thought appears, it'll get better, or I just need just a few more weeks, right? I always notice like, okay, we've already heard this. Like the life is right now. What is happening now is already the life that we are living. So no more postponing and no more just pushing through. Of course, there are seasons in life, but if someone is listening to this and knows that they tend to hold on to this belief or they tend to repeat this sentence to themselves a little more often than really just in a season or two, then this is an exclamation point to look at it deeper, right? To see, as I said before, whether this is a reasonable expectation to have.
I think that's definitely a fair point. So thank you for taking us through it. So sometimes it's not always the best to push through, but I greatly appreciate you sharing that part. So now I want you to take us to the moment where everything shifted. Where was your big aha, wherever you know, hey, things need to change? What were you doing? Where were you? What did you feel like in your body? Like, I can't keep doing this.
I think that many people will agree that there are more moments like this in life. This doesn't happen just once in a lifetime, right? That we kind of feel the need to change something. So yeah, let me tell you about the last time this happened, or maybe not the last time, but the time that led to the biggest transformation, that finally led to healing from burnout. That moment which led then to finding the root cause, addressing in my case, it was my self-talk, and then even changing my career. So I already said the ending of this story, right? But let me take you back. So the moment that before the biggest transformation was when I was deciding whether to quit again. Why I'm saying again is because previously I've already tried a sabbatical, a pretty long one, more than a year that I was off work, and it didn't help me. And because I wasn't able to rest. The sabbatical didn't work mainly for the reasons because I just exchanged the stress at work for the stress at home when I try to finish all the unfinished projects. I just felt that I only needed the time, but it's always deeper than just the time management issue, right? So after this sabbatical, I went back to work, and eventually I came back to a point that we are talking about, that I knew that something had to change. Yet the only strategy that I kind of knew was to quit again and try the sabbatical. But at the same time, I was extremely afraid. Why should I try the same strategy when I know that it hadn't worked in the past? So this was a hard moment because at the same time you kind of know that you cannot keep going like this, but you don't know any alternative. But what I think is also now a big part of my message is that still trying matters. And this is because of this moment. I knew that I needed to change something, and I knew that I won't be able to find it within the work environment that I was in. And I'm not necessarily blaming the work, but I just know that this was the case for me, that I needed the space to try different things, to look for help. And I knew that I needed to go deeper, even though I wasn't sure how. And the only thing I knew that I needed to try again and needed to try something different.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That at least takes us back to the moment that you recognize that you already did something wherever you did your sabbatical, and in a sense you felt like you failed at it, but yet whenever the second round came around, you figured that, hey, this didn't work the first time, something else needs to change. So during that time, what felt the heaviest? What pressure did you have to keep moving forward? Were you afraid of slowing down, or was it something else entirely?
We now know as coaches how to reframe. So when we say that reframe failures as learnings, this is a perfect example. Because even though we are talking about failure, and I did feel like I failed, and I failed at something as easy as rest. Like, I know it's not true. Rest is not easy for a lot of people, but I felt that it should be easy, and I wasn't good at it. I wasn't able to relax during my sabbatical. So, but this was a learning in the sense that I already knew that I needed something different than just time off. So that was an important part of that story, or of that moment when I was deciding what to change and what to try differently. I just decided that I would figure it out. That I just needed to go for it and keep trying and figure it out along the way. Again, it wasn't easy, but it was worth it.
Yeah, sometimes the hardest things are the ones that are worth it. So during that time, and we're going to dive just a little bit deeper, is what beliefs or patterns were you holding on to that weren't really serving you?
Already knew that discipline wasn't the answer. It wasn't the answer because I knew that I could be disciplined. Like, from my past, this wasn't necessarily from that sabbatical, but I already knew that I could be the disciplined one. I knew that I could stick to a routine and just do it, right? But it's never just. I always say it's the word just makes it sound easy, but it is not easy. And yeah, so I knew that discipline wasn't the answer necessarily for me, at least the sustainable one. Because even when I had these, I used to call them good seasons, which meant that I was checking off the boxes, like wake up early, eat healthy, exercise, go for a walk, be focused and productive, meet with friends, find time for hobbies. I was checking the boxes, but internally it didn't feel good. It felt like a constant battle. I felt very heavy during some of these seasons, and the heaviness was caused by the gap between my expectations and the reality. The expectations were, if I just stick to the routine, if I just do these right things that we're supposed to do, right, then life will be good. But on the other hand, it didn't feel good. It felt heavy. It felt like, even though I was able to stick to such routine, I was disciplined enough, but I just felt that it didn't feel that good as I expected. So I already knew that this wasn't the sustainable approach that I would hoped for, and that I would need to find something else. Again, sometimes, even when we have some realizations like this, for example, it is not necessarily that we have the answer right away. So I had the realization, but I still haven't. Didn't have the answer. I already knew that simply doing nothing and resting wasn't helping either, because I realized that I wasn't able to rest. I felt always guilty when I tried to do nothing, or when I was simply, I don't know, watching a series or lying on a couch reading a book. I had it in me that it felt unproductive, and I felt guilty for not doing the things that we're supposed to do. So, again, I had all these strategies that I knew that didn't work. But again, it's important to have also these learnings because they lead us to explore further, explore deeper. And I knew that I needed help. And unfortunately, it wasn't that easy to find it either. But eventually, I did find a great therapist that helped me in my journey. Uh, but still, at this point, it was the sole realization or the sole belief that I refused to give up. Because again, I believe that it was possible. So it is an important belief. We just need to look at it. In some situations, we just need to look at it with a grain of salt. But I refused to give up, and that was an important part of my story that kept me going.
Thank you for sharing that. And that helps us understand that discipline doesn't always work, even if we think it could. And learning or understanding that there's a better way always helps us move forward. So I love the positivity that you gained from it. You knew that there was light at the end of the tunnel. So that leads me to my my next question. If you're looking at your life right now, so you overcame the struggle and where you are right now, what feels lighter, more aligned, more joyful?
I'm able to find these moments to pause. That's the first thing. And I know how to rest. I accept bad days for what they are, just a bad day, nothing more, nothing less. It doesn't mean anything more about me or my life. It sometimes it happens. And I talk a lot about positive self-talk, but what I need to maybe highlight here is that positive self-talk or the work that I do is not about toxic nor constant positivity. And this is also important to understand that life will, whatever transformation you go through, however you change your life for the better, bad days happen, situations arise. We need to learn to accept the way things are, to accept reality for what it is, but also to learn to maybe look at it even more objectively, because that always helps in situations to switch from all or nothing thinking to, okay, this didn't go as planned, but this is what I can do with it, or this is within my control, this isn't. So this distance that we create from the situation or from our own thoughts or even the awareness that we create, these are the things that help in everyday life to reframe things, to look differently at the things that are happening, and to bring more compassion towards ourselves, which I believe is very key for many people. And I also believe that this world needs more compassion. I'm still not perfect, and this is not about that. But this is about having the tools that can bring change to every moment, right? And this is also the reason for this podcast, that we can create a toolkit that will help us cope with life and manage it a little better, and to experience life a little lighter. And you asked what's more aligned, even though I enjoyed my work in tax, but I'm so passionate about the work that I do now. And I know, as we were talking about the darker places of my story, I know how isolating it can feel. And once I started to feel better, once I found this huge game changer that, again, for me, it was the positive self-talk. I'm not saying that this is a magic pill. Once I realized it can change, life can feel different, I knew that I needed to share my stories. And I needed to start talking about these things. The struggles are even more difficult when you feel that you are the only one struggling, when you feel that you are the only one going through these things, that, for example, you always only see people on social media and you see them posting these highlight reels from their life, and you feel like you're the only one who can't cope or who can't manage life with the things that it's throwing at you. So that's why I believe this work is so important, to start talking about these things. And I understand that not everyone is ready to talk about it. they might be still going through it, or there are other reasons why they're not ready to talk about it. And I know it's not easy to talk about it, right? But it's important. And I felt the need to share my story and to bring a little different approach to burnout recovery. When I started to share with my friends and with my family that I was deeply burned out and that I already was off work and that this was the time for me to heal, and I still couldn't find any solution or any help. Even my friends or family members, they came to me and asked me, like, what did these experts told you to do? Like, what is the tangible thing to try doing? What is it that you should do, right? This was kind of the confirmation that I had internally, but had it from several people asked me this same question. They were like, okay, I checked on the internet what to do when you're burned out, but I haven't found any real tangible helpful information. So what is it that you should do to get out of it? And I felt the same way. Like, I have nothing against mindfulness, but all I could find at that moment was like, be more mindful. I knew what it meant, but I was struggling. I didn't feel good, and I kind of didn't want to feel more, So, and of course, like even the work that I do now, it is about mindfulness, but we need to frame it in more tangible ways. Like, what is the one or two things that you can actually do, you can take action on right now in the place where you feel that you have no more room for anything.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. Now, if you could sit down with the version of yourself who was stuck in that survival mode, that dark phase that you talked about, what would you want her to know? What would you tell her about what's waiting on the other side, aka where you are today?
These were very difficult times, and I think that I will just hug her, and I will just thank her for being strong enough to even keep trying, even though I know that it didn't feel that way, but it truly was. And I don't know what to. I can only say that it will get better, and I still feel like I am in the middle of the story, right? I don't think that now where I'm at right now is the part of the movie that, okay, now it's all figured out and all working out the best way possible. I like where I am right now, and I like how this story is shaping up. So I will just tell her to keep trying.
What a beautiful saying. I think you made me hold back a tear there because I could still sense the raw emotion coming from, I just want to hug her. Sometimes we don't realize whenever we're in the moment how painful that is. But whenever we reflect further on, we're like, wow, we overcame that. And it shows how much strength and courage we have. So I want to applaud you for that, especially showing empathy and sympathy to the older version of you. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's very powerful.
Thank you for saying that. When I'm talking with other people, how to approach the thoughts that occur in our head is to look at it from an external point. What if your friend was going through the same things that you are going through right now? That they were struggling as much as you're struggling right now? What would you tell them? Sometimes we don't have the words, but we have the compassion. And maybe this is a reminder to us all to show that compassion, not just to past version of ourselves, but even to the version that is today.
That's a beautiful answer. You mentioned self-compassion was part of your healing journey, and you talk about it now, and hugs are definitely something that's self-compassion as well as positive self-talk. What advice would you give somebody who's struggling to be kinder to themselves?
Self-talk was definitely the biggest game changer in my story. It created the biggest transformation and sparked the biggest change. And it started with one simple question in one therapy session, which was when my therapist asked me, what are the things that you like about yourself? And in that moment, I couldn't answer. I couldn't think of one. And it's sad. It's very sad when you think about it. It's true. Why I'm telling this story is because I know that so many people feel the same. After the therapy session, the question kind of stuck with me. So I committed myself to come up with one positive thing a day. It wasn't easy. I'm not sure when I started to come up with these things, because I'm sure it took a little while. But eventually I did. And with this one question in mind, I started to notice the self-talk, notice how my inner critic was always loud and how it was always saying just the negatives. And then the bigger realization came when I knew that I would never ever talk to anyone, like really anyone else, the same way I talk to myself. And that's when it clicked. So that's when I started to look at the situations maybe from a little external point of view. I know that I kind of shared this approach a little while ago. So for me, it started as one positive thing a day, and maybe that's where you can start too. Maybe you can start with a question, okay, if this happened to a friend, what would you tell them? How would you approach this if this was someone else? Or you can imagine if this was a little child that struggled. I'm sure you would show compassion. I'm sure you will show kindness. And these are the important realization or even tools that we can use to shift the narrative a little bit and to notice these patterns. Because soon enough we realize that these are patterns that reappear. For example, we notice that, okay, this always happens after this. So we notice the trigger. Next time we notice the same trigger, then, okay, I already know this is a trigger. This is a place where I can introduce a pause. This is a place where I can introduce a little different response. So all this raised awareness. What is also important to note here is that life has seasons, and we need to accept that. And to bring more acceptance into bad days, into these seasons that don't necessarily work the way we would want them to. Trying to bring a little more objectivity, either to these things that are happening or to the thoughts that are appearing in our minds. Are they really true? What does it mean? What is behind it? What sparked this thought? And to challenge them a little bit, to understand that even, for example, to challenge our all or nothing tendencies. This is very common with many people, that we tend to look at situations as black or white. There's always room between. There are ways how you can work on being kinder and more compassionate towards yourself. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's not always easy, but this is a journey, and it's truly worth addressing these thought patterns, these beliefs. As I often say, you are always in your head. Let's make it a nice place to be.
What a wonderful journey. Thank you so much for sharing that. So for anyone that's listening who feels stuck in the same loop or burnout or maybe some type of misalignment, what's one thing you would like them to know? What's the first step they can take?
Thank you for this question. And I want to highlight that, as you already know, my journey was to quit, to get some time off work. But I totally understand that this might not be an option for you, and that is perfectly fine. Start where you are. But please know that even with the limited time that you have, there are things that you can start doing. And one reason why I'm mentioning it is that I used to believe this as well, was that I needed a long vacation, or I needed to go for a weekend at spa, or to do something magically different that would cure all my problems. But that is rarely the case. And eventually, when I found like what helped me were these small moments in my day, whether I was at work or off work, these small moments where I could check in with myself, listen to my body, what does it try to tell me? Because we somehow forget to listen to ourselves. We just keep pushing, keep running, keep checking off the boxes. But we stop listening to our bodies, and usually they have the answers. Unfortunately, if we don't listen, they usually find a way and they start screaming. And that's already too late. But again, start where you are and start with this reframe that even with a little time, you can start working on this, on creating these small moments that will give you energy, that will help you relax, that will help you change the voice of the inner critic inside your head. It's always important to start from the smallest steps possible and work our way further and further. Because even though they might seem very small and that they might seem that they won't change a thing, they do. They create this small moment, that they create this small space. They create a little bit more energy. Or if not create, they save a little more energy. And this is the energy that you can use somewhere else, you can use for the bigger moments. But when you start from the perfect plan, from the perfect routine, usually what happens is that you are able to stick to the plan for a few days, maybe for a few weeks, but then you can't, something happens and you suddenly can't, and then you're left feeling like a failure. And this feeling only keeps you down, and this only keeps you stuck. That's why we need to try a different approach and start from the smallest thing possible to build your way up.
Great answer. You mentioned in this discussion throughout your talk here today that you loved the data, but you're a coach. Why'd you dislike coaching?
I told you the story how I found self-talk. And even though when someone hears self-talk, they don't necessarily hear the same thing as I do. Because it was truly the biggest transformation that happened in my life. And I was deeply burned out. I lived in burnout for years. I repeated the same cycle over and over. But I always came to the question like, is this what life should feel like? I was still aware of the heaviness. And this suddenly changed it. I just suddenly realized that, okay, I offer this compassion or this kindness to others. I try to be the supportive one, but I was never the support for myself. And again, this was my story, but I still believe that if one person is going through something, there are other people going through the same thing. So if this could be the transformation that it was for me, for one other person, or I always said for two, so I can call them people, like use the plural. So if this could be the transformation for two other people, then it's worth it. It's even worth it for one person. It felt so profound, and and truly life-changing for me that I wanted to share it, as well as it felt very isolating to feel that I was the only one struggling. And I also wanted to share about this side because even though we hear the word burnout all the time, I'm also not sharing from the burnout place. Because it's impossible to share from that dark place, and that is okay. I'm not forcing anyone to share directly from that space, but I just wanted to talk about the experience, because if someone isn't talking about it but sees me or someone else talking about the experience and sees themselves in the experience, they can also feel that it's possible to change, to get out of these struggles and to get out of burnout and change our lives.
I love that. That's a fantastic answer. And I know you also touched on the readily available resources out there. So if you go on ChatGPT or on Google, it's like all about mindfulness. Why do you think mindfulness alone does not help with burnout?
I don't necessarily think that it doesn't help with burnout, because it's mindfulness is a practice of really being in the present moment, right? That's what mindfulness is. Helps, but I just feel that it's not tangible enough concept from someone that's still running, that still tries to push harder, that still wants to check off the boxes. Because it's not about like, okay, do a 10-minute meditation, you can check off the box and suddenly it goes away. Mindfulness nor meditation or practices like these are not about checking the box. It's about finding a way towards yourself, find a way inside to create a space to clear the clutter in your mind. Now I know that even my work might be mindfulness focused or has some attributes of mindfulness, but I'm trying to approach it always from the point of tangible action or tangible questions to answer and journal on, or to reflect on, or practices that you can implement and that feel a little more tangible and more actionable than the advice, just be more mindful.
I think that's a great explanation. So for somebody out there that's listening, that's maybe in the burnout phase themselves right now, what piece of advice would you give them, if any?
A great place to start is to do an energy audit. And this might be to simply look at your life, look at your day, look at your activities or meeting, like, do they give you energy or drain you energy? And this gives you data. Just simply look at it as data, and this is data that helps you create boundaries. Because burnout is about exhaustion. We need to create more energy for you and for your life, but we cannot go from 0 to 100. We need to go slowly. So once you do an energy audit, you can see some spaces where you can either create boundaries or even delegate some things or stop doing those things to set your priorities and focus only on those. So yes, first thing is an energy audit. Second one is to check in with your body. Find 2 minutes, start with 2 minutes a day, every day, after your lunch break, before the next part of your day begins. Just for 2 minutes. You can even set a timer if you're afraid that this will go for longer. And I'm sure you can find 2 minutes. And check in with your body. What does it mean? Ask yourself, what is it that I need right now? What does my body need in this exact moment? Sometimes it is to drink a little water. Sometimes it is go to bathroom. Like, it can even be these basic things, but we forget to listen. Of course, Oh, these are not the only answers, but your body will tell you, okay, I need more rest. Okay, I feel so much resistance with this project that I'm working on. And you can dive deeper. You can try to understand that resistance more or things like this. But creating only that 2-minute break will help you find the answers that you are looking for. So simple self-check-in, it's something that I always recommend. And the third thing, address your self-talk. Notice your self-talk. For the first week, you can only focus on finding out the 5 most recurring thoughts that appear in your mind. Nothing more, nothing less. But once you have a little moment and you already know that these are the 5 recurring thoughts, you can start working with them. Either you can challenge them, you can reframe them, you can understand them better. Like, why is this something that's happening? Why is this thought reappearing? So these are the first 3 things that are, in my opinion, worth looking at. Energy audit, self-check-in, and of course, self-talk.
Thank you so much for sharing those practical tips. Now, our listeners at least have a way forward, especially if they're in the midst of burnout or maybe that they're overcoming it. So, thank you so much for sharing that. Is there anything else you would like our listeners to know or take away with today in the discussion?
Thank you for this question. Many of us can get stuck in the fantasy trap, but that is not a place to start. We can only start from where we are right now. And I just want to mention to everyone, like, I strongly believe that there is a different way to live your life, and it is in your power to change it. Either with your self-talk, for sure with more self-compassion, with getting to know yourself better. And this is not about just following someone else's blueprint. Maybe self-talk is not the one way for you as it was for me, and I totally get that. And as I said, I'm not promoting it as a magic pill. But get into the habit of reflection and journaling and even creating these small moments in your day where it is okay to enjoy a moment to pause and know deep inside that you've got nothing to prove. You are okay the way you are. You are enough the way you are. And this noisy world makes it sometimes difficult to believe, but it is true. And I strongly believe in this message.
Thank you so much, Jana, for being vulnerable today and sharing your story. I guarantee that it will resonate with a lot of our listeners today. Thank you.
Thank you as well. Thank you for even creating this podcast with me. I'm so happy about this project that we're building here. And thank you for wonderful questions. And thank you for your time. And thank you for your time, everyone listening to us. I hope it was helpful. If you enjoyed this episode, please join us next, where I will interview Karolina to tell us a little bit more about her story. This was your moment to pause.